Okay, good morning, all of you. So yesterday's what we just discussed the why wave theory could not explain the photoelectric effect here. So now the photoelectric effect experiment we're going to do. Based on this is what we have all our numerical discussion will be there. A very good theoretical questions can be asked, the failure of wave theory, and related to that numericals also will come. I discussed one numerical also, like because as as we know, photoelectric effect is what like instantaneous process. No, it will take around order 10 to the power of -8 seconds. The moment photons are incident on surface, the electrons will be ejected, and the ejected electrons will call photoelectrons. So I'll just summarize what was the major problem with the wave theory. The first thing is like, according to wave theory, the photoelectrons should come after some time delay. According to the wave theory, because there what will happen, the energy incident in a wavefront that will be absorbed by all the electrons, most of the millions of electrons. Then energy gained by each electron will be very less. By the time it becomes energy equal to work function, it will take sometimes few seconds, sometimes minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes days also. But we know photoelectric effect is an instantaneous process. This is the one thing. This is the first aspect. Second aspect is the cutoff frequency. So there is some minimum cutoff wavelength, or you can call cutoff frequency here. Let me talk in terms of wavelength. If lambda greater than lambda naught, no photoelectric effect. If lambda less than lambda naught, there'll be a photoelectric effect. But according to wave theory, there should not be any cutoff. According to wave theory, there should not be any cutoff, because any wave, okay, as long as the intensity is there, high intensity will have energy, and that energy open will be given to electron. Definitely the electron will come out. But when we see that when lambda greater than lambda naught, irrespective of intensity, we don't get any photoelectric effect. So definitely what happened, the wave theory fails to explain the photoelectric effect here. That's why we'll go for particle nature. For that purpose, Einstein introduced the idea of photons. Means here the light will behave like a particle when interacting with a metal surface. So the idea of the photons he has introduced here. So that will, I'm going to continue. So the experiment is what will demonstrate clearly that, in fact, it's a the light will be like a particle nature only. So what that experiment contains? It contains a photoelectric tube. Okay, there's a window through which light can enter. And as usual, the same symbol I'm going to continue. This will be incident photons. So here I have a source of light which will have wavelength lambda and intensity I. So these are photons. Please do have imagination. This is very important. So these photons, they're incident on this one. Oh. This photo cell is a glass tube. It's a glass tube. So first let me draw the emitter. There's a emitter, there's a cathode. There's a bulb having wavelength lambda and intensity is high. What is that intensity? How to vary intensity by moving the bulb near to the window. This particular thing is called like a window through which the light will enter, and these are the photons. Let's show a few that one. And first I will here I'll be having a key galvanometer which will show the direction of flow of current and one ammeter. There's a on off key. There's an ammeter, milliammeter, microammeter, whatever be that. And this is called like a ammeter. Let me show red color. This is and this is a collector. Okay, now these are the photons. The energy of photons depends on this one. This particular emitter, this is a metal plate. So this is called like emitter, or it's called like a cathode. This is called like a collector or anode. And this will have a work function of this metal of the emitter or cathode will have work function phi that one. Now a light is incident, the photons are incident. So what will happen here now? What actually happens here? So we'll get three types of photoelectrons will be ejected. No, those electrons which are near to surface will interact with photon. They'll emerge with a maximum kinetic energy. The three electrons I'll show by different color. The maximum kinetic energy electron I'll show it here. No, the maximum kinetic energy electron I'll show by this color. This will be Kmax, and there'll be another electron which will be ejected with kinetic energy which will be less than K, and there'll be another electron will be there which will be at rest here. So we'll agree this I think yesterday. And what is Kmax? How to write expression for Kmax? Kmax should be equal to energy of photon minus work function. Energy of photon Sc by lambda or HF, anything. So this is a maximum kinetic energy photoelectron. Then there are some photoelectrons which will have kinetic energy K. Why this Kmax? A photon which will come here, it will interact with electron which is present, free electron which is on the surface. After interaction happen, it will come out with a maximum kinetic energy. And what about this? This much of energy should be utilized to overcome that resistance or the attractive force due to the metal. That's called like a work function. So finally, the difference of energy of photon minus work function is the maximum kinetic energy of photoelectron. And what about K? This will encounter some few collisions. Then will emerge out. When it arrives at surface, it will have energy greater than work function. It will come out with kinetic energy. And what about other electron? It will interact with photoelectron for photons inside the metal, encounter collision. By the time arrives at surface, its energy will be just greater than or equal to work function. So here it will emerge with a speed almost zero kinetic energy. And what about other set of electrons? They'll collide with the photon, they'll absorb photon. After absorbing photon, they'll encounter series of collision. By the time they arrive at surface, their energy will be less than work function. They fail to come out. These are the four categories of interactions are there, in which three categories are able to come out. Now, those electrons which are ejected maximum kinetic energy, they'll start moving towards the anode. Anode means which will collect, or collector, which will collect the electrons here. Getting this? And what about those electrons which are emitted with zero kinetic energy? So this is electrons electrons emitted with zero kinetic energy at emitter form a space charged layer. I'm calling it very specifically space charged layer, or finding very difficult to this word, or you can also call it as cloud. Charged cloud. So the charged cloud is what? I'll just show it like this. So what this charged cloud contains, it is made up of and the charge cloud, this should be like this. So what is the charge cloud? Charge cloud, what happen? All those zero kinetic energy electrons, what happen? They just stay nearby the emitter only and they'll form a space charged layer. And this is what a charged cloud in the SEOMA is called as a space charged layer. On some books they call it a charged cloud. Those photoelectrons which are ejected with zero kinetic energy, they'll stay at emitter and they'll form some sort of a cloud and they'll be there only. What will happen to maximum kinetic energy electron? Because of kinetic energy, it start moving. So it will go and collected by the anode, and due to this anode will collect it, and this particular same electron now it starts flowing here. Is it justified? I am this electron, it will start moving. Now here it was having maximum kinetic energy. No? What about here? It's a wire, no? Iron or copper wire. With what speed here electron will move? With this speed. Here it was having maximum kinetic energy. What about here? The kinetic energy of electron inside the iron wire should be equal to mass into average speed. What is the, that should be the disk speed. And we know what is the order of this, 10 to the power of minus 4 meter per second. So the kinetic energy electron that moves between emitter and collector and the kinetic energy of the electron which is moving inside the wire in experiment will be different. Kinetic energy of this electron and the same electron when it starts moving in the wire no, should have different kinetic energy. Any reason for that? The moment it collides here, the anode will retard its kinetic energy, and because of potential difference this will start moving. So like this electron will propagate like this here. So this will be the flow of electron. Opposite to flow of electron, a current should be there, and this is called like a photocurrent or photoelectric current. And if I put emitter will start reading that one. Okay, let's go for the plotting of graph. So let me plot the graph here. What about sir? Those electrons only Kmax will reach? No. Those electrons which are having non-zero kinetic energy, they'll come and they'll be collected by the collector, and those electrons inside the wire, all the photoelectrons inside the wire must move with a disk speed. Between the gap between the at cathode and anode, they'll be moving with a different speed here, 0, K and K max. And now let's plot the graph here. Plotting graph with what? Like intensity, I'll plot it. Let me vary intensity. So we know as we vary intensity, now I'm going to vary the intensity of light. Now what will happen to the current? Will keep on increase as I vary the intensity of light. Current should keep on increase. That's all, no? Because the intensity, what happen? If I increase the intensity, what will happen to number of photons? Number of photons will increase. Number of photons will increase. As the number of photons increases, number of photoelectrons ejected will increase. Number of photoelectrons ejected increases. Number of photoelectrons striking the collector or anode will increase. So the current will increase. So definitely what happen? As I increase intensity, so here the y-axis, I'm going to take the current. So and x-axis is the applied voltage across the tube. This will be. This one. So definitely open, shall I put some current here? Somewhere some non-zero current should flow. And what is V? Potential difference applied across the tube. Initially I shorted it, and the path of the electron will be like this. How the charge of this plate will be conserved? How many photoelectrons that are ejected? What happens? Those many photoelectrons is going to get back. Those many photoelectrons is going to get back here. So like that, the charge will be conserved here. So now, in the absence of any potential difference applied across the photoelectric tube, the current will be non-zero and it will be here. It should flow this much here. So now let me bring a potential difference applied across it. I'll apply a potential difference. So when I apply potential difference, then how the current will vary for a given intensity. And if you vary intensity, how the shape of the curve, that we have to discuss. So this is the initial part. I think I should put just a dot here. No, nothing is there. Graph. Current versus voltage. Applied voltage is 0, and the current will be non-zero. Now I'll take the same diagram. Now I'll carry on with this. So here I'm going to introduce a cell. I think we can connect the polarity of cell in any way according to our thing. So let me. This is a cell. Let me just call, and it's a variable. The EMF of this will be variable. Now, as I am going to vary the potential. Now, anode, I'm going to make it positive. Why it is called as anode? Because I'm going to connect it for positive. So instead of in chemistry books, you call cathode anode. In physics, what pen, let me use collector and emitter. Because I'm going to change the polarity here also. So I'm going to connect now the positive terminal to the collector and the negative terminal to the emitter. Then how the electric field inside this. In every numerical, you just show this E bar. This is very important. Now the E bar, who will produce this E bar? Who will produce this E bar? E bar will be produced by the external source. In every numerical, just show this E bar. Now, any electron which is present here. So let's take some arbitrary electron. Any electron which is present here, in what direction it will have kinetic energy K. Then along with that, electrostatic force also will act. No? Along with that, electrostatic force will act. So what will happen to these electrons now? Shall I say they'll get accelerated? They'll get accelerated. So if I go for plotting graph, numericals will be very easy for you. Only the theoretical idea is very important. That also. Now, when applied potential difference is 0, that is what this V I'll call it. So there should be some current. There should be some current. Then as I increase potential difference, the E will increase. And because of electrostatic field increasing, then what should happen to kinetic energy of the photoelectrons that are ejected with zero kinetic energy, with non-zero kinetic energy, and they'll get accelerated, no? So shall I say that current will increase? Now you have to justify so why the curve your why the so we have to give explanation for different parts of the curve. So first, why this is why this is because at zero potential there must be some current. Okay, that is what this current is. And then I kept intensity constant. Capital I is what intensity here. Capital I is what the intensity. Then lambda is also fixed here. Then as I increase the potential difference here, the current through the galvanometer or through this emitter, it will increase. So we have to give explanation for this part of the graph. Okay, this one. We'll give name like O, O, A, B, C, and D. Now, why AB current will increase? Any reason for that? So it's quite very simple. Has the increased potential difference. Electrostatic field will increase. Now, earlier, in the absence of applied voltage, only those photoelectrons which are having non-zero kinetic energy, they are able to reach the collector. What about the space charged layer? The space charge layer was at rest. So that one. So now, as I increase, as I apply the potential difference, look at here now. This electrostatic field will exert a force on the space charger on the electrons. So these electrons, open earlier they were at rest, they'll get experience a force, electrostatic force. Due to electrostatic force, what happen? These electrons, they'll start migrating towards collector. In the absence of potential difference here, only non-zero kinetic energy photoelectrons were striking the collector. Am I right? Then now because of potential difference applied, the electrostatic field will be non-zero between the in the gap. This electrostatic field will exert a force on electrons in the space charge layer. The space charge layers electrons now they'll experience a force. The space charge layer electrons they'll experience a force. So due to this force the electrons also start now accelerating towards the collector. They also start drifting towards the collector. So what should happen to now? Number of electrons striking the collector will increase. And we know current is what? Rate of flow of charge. So the amount of charge flowing through the emitter will increase in a given time. So current will increase. So therefore, the graph will be like this here. So from ABC, what we can say here now? From ABC, what we can say? The current is continuously increasing. Why? The space charge layer starts melting or diminishing. Any reason for that? The electrostatic field, what happen? What it will do? It will start pulling that electrons from the space charge layer towards the collector. So the number of electrons striking the collector increases. So therefore, the current should increase here. I didn't increase intensity. I think you should be clear. What is the intensity of light at this point? Same. What is the intensity of light at this point? Same. Number of photons incident is constant. Number of photoelectrons ejected is constant. But number of electrons striking the collector depends upon this applied potential difference. Any reason? The zero kinetic energy photoelectrons will be at rest. The electrostatic field will accelerate it, then they'll start moving towards collector. So therefore, current should increase here. So any reason for ABC we should write? for for this part of the curve, what is the expression? You can write it here. The space charge layer, the photoelectrons in space charged layer experiences electric force QE due to applied PD from the cell. Okay, this one. Hence, they start moving towards the anode or towards the collector. So what will happen now? Number of electrons. Now number of electrons. The number of photoelectrons striking the collector increases. Hence, current I increases as PD across the cell increases. Okay, fine. So there's a one reason is what I'm putting here. No. Look at the explanation what I'm putting here. This one. Very good conceptual questions will ask you. That's why I'm just putting that information here. So now in the region ABC, what shall I say? Shall I put one thing? The will diminish. So from A to BC also it will increase, and then from CD what it's a constant. You can see like a CD will remain constant here. So we'll put some straight line. And now this will be constant. And now we have to explain the graph CD. Why afterwards it will be constant. CD is a straight line. ABC is a curve ABC. No, straight line CD. So now a constant current starts flowing here. This will call it as high saturation. Okay, fine. No, so that a current got saturated means okay, fine. A constant current flows after that one. What is capital I? Capital I is intensity, small I is current. Please do try to understand the symbols because they are very important here. No. Why the current remains constant afterwards? Though potential is increased, the current will remain constant. Any reason for that? As I keep on increase the potential difference across the cell, that one, the electrostatic field will increase. Then what happen? The space charge layers what happen? Will be pulled out. The electrons from space charge will pulled out and they'll be pushed towards collector. Then at certain potential here, you can say at certain potential, the electrostatic field is so high that any photoelectron that is ejected, whether 0 or maximum or k, any photoelectron that is ejected, immediately it will be swept towards collector. Immediately I'm telling this one. The moment the photoelectron comes here, ejected by this collector, it will be swept by the towards collector. The moment photoelectron is ejected by emitter, no, it will be swept towards collector because the electrostatic field is acting so high that uh, immediately it will be swept here. So therefore now what will happen to number of electrons striking the anode? Because there won't be any time given for this electron to settle here only. Zero kinetic energy photoelectron. The moment photoelectron ejected, zero kinetic energy. It will not take rest here. The electrostatic field will immediately sweep it towards collector. So what happened to now? Number of electrons striking the collector will be constant. So a constant current flows. We'll call this as I saturation. So getting this, so in the region ABC, the space charge that diminishes. Afterwards, what happened? Any photoelectron that is ejected from the emitter will be immediately swept towards the collector. So therefore, number of photoelectrons striking the collector remains constant. So what is the explanation we should give? Because of higher PD, potential difference it is a PD across cell, any photoelectron, any ejected photoelectron will be immediately swept towards collector. No space charge layer no space charge layer. The photoelectrons are not permitted to form a space charge layer. No space charge layer exists now here. So any photoelectron ejected, any ejected photoelectron will be immediately swept towards collector. Now earlier with zero potential, which photoelectron were able to reach only non-zero kinetic energy. Zero kinetic energy photoelectron, they will be at rest nearby the emitter plate. But here at this particular potential difference, all the ejected photoelectrons will be swept towards the collector. So because of this, what happens? Number of photoelectrons striking the collector is constant per unit time. So therefore, the current will be constant. So I'll put it, the number of photoelectrons striking the collector remains constant. So therefore, a constant current flows in circuit. That constant current is what we call I saturation. Anybody how to calculate that I saturation? That I saturation depends on what? Number of photoelectrons. Number of photoelectrons depends on what? The intensity. Intensity. So any formula I should generate for saturation current? So will there be any formula for saturation current? Can we generate any formula for that saturation current? Because what is this current? Current should be rate of flow of charge. Anybody, can we generate, or it's only not possible? Practically only we can measure, so theoretically there's no such formula. High saturation, practically we can measure. The emitter will tell how much of that one. So here what we do is, the I saturation formula is the current. This should be equal to, this called as quantum efficiency. What is eta? Called as quantum efficiency, Hc by, I'll write it here. Okay, now so from where you are bringing, how you are bringing this? What is eta? Eta is called as quantum efficiency. From where I'm bringing this, I'm not going to do anything very big. How many photons emitted by source depends on what? How many photons are emitted by source per second? Power of source by energy of photon. Power of source is what? PE. Power of source is what? I'll write it PS. Power of source. Let me use symbol PS here. PS, okay, fine. This is by energy of photon. What is energy of photon? Sc by lambda. Yesterday, I think previous class I just discussed. Energy of photon, power of source by energy of photon will give number of photons emitted by source per second. Then, is it for every photon one electron generated? I think already I gave explanation yesterday. Some of the photons will interact with electrons, some of electrons, they fail to come out. So therefore, there is some sort of efficiency there. For every 10 to the power of 6 photons, one electron will be generated. One photoelectron will be generated. So that is what called as quantum efficiency. So with that, what will happen? We'll get this one. So all these are per second, no? Shall we put anything charge, or only this much here? So I think some charge should be added, no? Charge of electron. What is this all? PS by Sc lambda, number of photons. Eta into PS lambda Sc will become number of photoelectrons ejected, into charge of electron will become saturation current. Do remember, I don't know, in books they have missed it very badly. So, but in numericals, we need this one. The saturation current depends on these particular quantities. Lambda is incident wavelength, power of source, Hc are constant, and eta depends on material and is a charge of electron. Okay, agree this. So this is saturation current. Okay, now about this one. Now what I do is like, I will Now I'll reverse the polarity. If I reverse the polarity across the cell, mean the positive terminal instead of connecting to collector, the negative terminal I'll connect to collector. Then what conditions will arise, we'll see. I'm going to change the polarity. Oh, 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 oh. I'll get back screen. No, let me go for this one. Now look at this experiment. I'm going to change the polarity of cell.
Sir, I'm not able to see the screen.
Oh, oh, oh. I
It is
didn't
not
share.
capped, sir.
Wait. I'll check it. Yeah. Now, okay.
Yes, sir.
So this will be the polarity. The potential difference. This is V. This is circuit. Okay, let's see that the current, the direction of current will be seen. Now this arrow, I'll change it here. In what direction electrostatic force will be acted on this? Please say every numerical you must draw diagram like this. Not photons, everything. At least that E bar you have to show it because there is a concept. And now why E bar I'm changing? Because now the emitter is made. So I'll remove this cathode. So this is something like very difficult for you. Collector, emitter, finish short. Light is incident on a metal, that is emitter. The one which will collect photoelectron, that is the collector. Now look at this. The positive terminal connected to emitter. Light is incident. Again, the same condition. So this is the intensity of the source I. Quantum efficiency of this, I'll write nearby it. What is the quantum efficiency? The efficiency of that particular metal. And the energy of photon is this much. The number of photons emitted by the source per second. Power of source by energy of photon. Clear this. These are number of photons emitted by source per second. Then how many photoelectrons are ejected? Will be eta into this. So then, so how much it will become? Eta PS lambda by SC. Will I agree this? Like I just bringing. Then what about current? Current should be equal to saturation current will be equal to some of you are asking. I just gave the giving this. So like this is what it is being derived. Fine. Now let's come to the discussion here. We are checking for the graph. No, what will happen to the graph? I'll put back the graph again. This is the current. The curve was like this. No, and afterwards it's almost constant. put like this here. So this is for the intensity I, and this is the saturation. You have to show where current constant, that is I saturation. So already we give, now we have to, I'm going to the potential difference that is applied across the cell. Now tell me, like, how E bar will be, E bar will be towards right. Now the ejected photoelectron in what actual expansive force? Towards left, no? Then still what happen, as I keep on increase the potential, so what happen, the amount of current now flowing through the cell will decrease. Any reason we have to give? Because number of photoelectrons striking will decrease. Any reason for that? The maximum kinetic energy electron, if it is able to reach, what will happen to, there will be some electrons open whose kinetic energy will be not sufficient to reach that, because as it starts moving, how electrostatic force will act towards left. Then what will happen? Some electrons happen before reaching collector only. If they come to rest, what will happen? They will trace back, no? And some electrons which are having enough kinetic energy, they'll overcome this electrostatic field, they'll reach collector. So what happened now with zero potential, if there's some 100 electrons were striking, now as you increase the potential reverse direction here, now number of electrons striking will be less than 100, because those some electrons which are having kinetic energy less than K max, they fail to strike the collector. And what about space charge there? Will be there like that only. Now I'll further keep on increase this potential. What will happen to space charge layer? I think the space charge layer will not get disturbed, no? Because how the electrostatic force will act towards left. So the amount of space charge layer will keep on increase, no? And those electrons which are having kinetic energy, so they'll start moving. The electrostatic force will retard. Before reaching collector only, what happen? Some electrons will come to rest and they will return back. So like that, what happen? The number of electrons striking the collector decreases. The current flowing through the wire, or the electrons flowing through the wire, decreases. Then, so what will happen to this? The current through the emitter will decrease. So this is what happens here. What happened to space charge layer? Will increase. Space charge layer starts diminishing. No space charge layer here. Space charge layer start diminishing. Here what happened? The amount of the electrons in the space charge layer starts increasing. Finally, at this particular point, what will happen here? Zero current. Zero current means none of the electron, none of the photoelectron ejected is able to reach collector. What actually going on there? So we'll call the potential, this is called like a stopping potential. Stopping, the word itself. What is Vs? Vs is called as the potential difference across the tube at which what happen, the electrons are stopped reaching collector. That's why it is called as a stopping potential. So let's write a theoretical one. Space charge layer starts diminishing. No space charged layer here. So what about here? At this particular point, none of ejected photoelectrons or photo none of ejected photoelectrons reach collector. None, I'm using word, or photoelectrons will not reach collector. And I'll put like this, photoelectrons will put like this. This will be proper order. So at this particular point, what about here? Number of photoelectrons reaching collector start decreasing. Here what happened? This condition is specifically for this one at stopping potential. I'm writing now nearby that. So finish or no? So no, what actually goes on there? The ejected photoelectron. Look at that spot. the maximum kinetic energy photoelectron itself fails to reach the collector. Means here, let's talk about maximum kinetic energy photoelectron. Photon will come, will interact with this metal, will interact with free electron in the metal, and that particular free electron which interacts with photon will emerge, will get ejected by maximum kinetic energy at stopping potential. So what happened to this maximum kinetic energy photoelectron? It will undergo retardation just before reaching collector. It will go back. So shall we say no photoelectric effect? No, photoelectric effect is going on, but the electric field will not permit the maximum kinetic energy photoelectron to reach collector. You see, if the maximum kinetic energy electron fails to reach collector, what about this electron? Red color electron, this one, which is having kinetic energy less than Kmax. I think it will move somewhere here like this, then come back. So different, all electrons will not have same distance covered. Maximum kinetic electron what happen will go like this. Just before reaching, will return back. So I'll show it here. It'll go like this. Just before reaching collector, it will return back. What about this? It will be like this. Next, other some electrons will be like this. What about zero kinetic energy electron? Since kinetic energy is zero, it will not at all move, no? Because the electrostatic force will act towards left. So this is what happens here. That is called like a stopping potential. So at stopping potential, what happens? The electron will just retrace path. Means it will be like this. The maximum kinetic energy electron only itself fails to reach collector. Ejected photoelectron will not reach collector. So shall I say like a Kmax ejected photoelectron. I think this will be more Kmax ejected photoelectron, or photoelectron ejected with maximum kinetic energy itself will not reach collector. What about other things? Definitely they'll not reach. So now no current flows. This is called like a stopping potential. Now let's come for this. What is Kmax we used to write? Kmax, what is the expression for Kmax? Sc by lambda minus work function. So what should be this Kmax here now at this particular point? Should be equal to E into Vs. I'll substitute here. This will become EVS Sc by lambda minus work function, or stopping potential equal to Sc lambda E minus this one. Sc lambda E, and this called like a, what you can call this is the work function here. How to calculate threshold wavelength, where Kmax will be zero, no? That's called the wavelength at which what will happen? The photoelectric effect occurs here. So shall we put lambda less than lambda naught, greater than lambda naught, or lambda less than equal to lambda naught? One small thing, lambda less than or equal to lambda naught. Photoelectric effect occurs. Lambda greater than lambda naught. No photoelectric effect. We should not put lambda greater than or equal to lambda naught. How to calculate this threshold wavelength? I think that should be equal to work function, no? Am I right? Sc by lambda naught should be equal to work function. So separately, if you want it, you can write it here. Sc by lambda naught should be equal to work function. So if you want to replace work function, you can replace. And what is lambda naught? Threshold wavelength it is. We are not discussing about the threshold wavelength here. Now we are bothered about the stopping potential. Some books, they are expressed in terms of lambda naught. Instead of work function, they brought threshold wavelength. Yes, you can write in terms of that also. So then the equation will become this same equation. We can also write Sc by lambda naught. Okay, so either of this equation, Hc lambda E. I'll make correction. It should be work function by E, that one. Okay, like this here, we can express, we can bring in terms of threshold wavelength also. Okay, let's come for this. What will happen if I increase intensity? I'll keep lambda constant. Let me just vary the intensity. What will happen to stopping potential? We'll see. If I vary intensity, what will happen to stopping potential? If you vary intensity of source, let me show the total graph. Yeah. If I vary the intensity of source, what will happen? Number of photons will increase. If number of photons increases, number of photoelectrons ejected will increase. If number of photoelectrons ejected increases, then current will increase. So what should happen to the current? Current must increase. So how the curve should be now? The curve should be like this. What will happen to stopping potential? The stopping potential is independent of, stopping potential depends on what? Come for it, Kmax. Kmax depends on what? Lambda. And lambda depends on what? Lambda is nothing but energy of photon, no? And we know that if you increase intensity, what will happen to energy of photon? I already covered background yesterday. Rather than fighting here, yesterday only I made a clear-cut discussion. If you increase intensity, number of photons increases, energy of photon constant. Agree? If you increase frequency, energy of photon increases, intensity of source is constant. This is the basic idea. So number of photons per second is nothing but the intensity. So therefore, if I increase intensity, what will happen to energy of photon will not change. The energy of photon will determine Kmax. And the Kmax will determine stopping potential. So therefore, it's quite clear, no? The stopping potential is independent of intensity. So how the graph will be now? So if I plot the graph, the curve should be for different intensities. I'm trying to plot the curve here. So first a red color one. No. Now you can ask questions of why the curves at the increased intensity, stopping potential is will not change here. So stopping potential is fixed here. This is the intensity I, 2I, 3I. Why stopping potential should not change? That's what the explanation what we are giving here. As you increase intensity, number of photons will increase, energy of photon will remain same. Energy of photon will determine Kmax, and stopping potential depends on Kmax. And this is I'll write it big. Try to see this. So here is what the total concept is lying for. This it's the equations are in order like this. Okay, no. Try to check it. So is it graph justified? Okay, next question comes like, what about the with zero potential? Means when potential is zero, you are selected. No potential is applied. No. Then, as intensity increases, we know that as intensity, number of photons increases, and the number of photoelectrons ejected also should increase. Though this cell is not there, so definitely this current what happened should be increasing that one. What about saturation current? Why should increase? Why not saturation current be same? Why not saturation current be same? Saturation current depends on what? Okay, come for this. We have here. That's why I wrote here. So saturation current, shall I say, depends upon number of photons emitted by source per current. Say number of number of photons emitted by source per second depends on power, and the power of a source what happen will determine the intensity. Here power means you better think like this. How do I can increase intensity? Not by increasing PS. I'm just going to move like this. The number of photons striking this will increase. Rest mass, see, like, please, all of you, rest mass of photon is zero in classical mechanics. No need of any discussion, nothing, finish over. Non-zero, if you say, you have to go to quantum mechanics, not their syllabus, finish over. You need not to waste time in that aspect. And finish over. That one, rest mass is zero, finish over that one. That's all. A photon rest mass is zero. There's no element of doubt in that one. When it is in motion, you have to take help of quantum mechanics. In classical, we are in classical mechanics. Rest mass means not like photon at rest, photon in motion. Please use some common sense here. Photon at rest, okay, rest mass, no, not like that. Photon in motion only, the rest mass will be the rest mass. It is called as the mass, what we say in classical mechanics called as rest mass, and it will be, it's zero. That one, quantum mechanics, I think it will have that one. Not like a photon at rest, it will have rest mass zero. When it is motion, it will have some mass. No, don't use language here. Stick on to the basics. Okay, this is about the intensity, that one. So I think I have generated two curves. This will be. Next again curve. Let me vary the. Now, all of you got this. If I increase intensity, how to vary intensity? Just bring the source nearer. More photons will strike. More photons ejected. So saturation current also will increase. That's what I mean to say. How to calculate saturation current? I gave this formula. This is for calculation of saturation current. Okay, let's. I'll vary the frequency. Let's see what conditions will come. If I vary wavelength, definitely I'll decrease the wavelength. I'll make lambda less than lambda naught. Lambda naught is threshold frequency. I'll further decrease it. Then as I vary the wavelength, as I decrease wavelength further, then energy of photon will increase. Now, what will happen to number of photons are fixed? I'm making things clear. Number of photons emitted by source per second. But sir, you are having the formula. That's what you should ask a teacher, but you brought it. If I vary the lambda, what will happen here? But sir, okay, you do one thing. All of you, I'm trying to uh, make things very clear, because most of you try to think mathematically. Sir, I'll vary lambda. Then okay, sir, you see here. So here, number of photons emitted by source depends on this one, energy of photon. Now, if I decrease wavelength, then energy of photon will increase. The number of photons should decrease. Is it like that? No, number of photons depends on intensity here. And what is intensity? Intensity is power by area. I think you have to go back to the idea. Don't think mathematically here. So if you vary frequency, number of photons emitted by source will not change. But sir, you used this. Then how you justify this one? So let's go back. Photon flux. Let's go back to the intensity. What is intensity? Power by area. Okay, clear this. Power by area. So if you vary the lambda, what will happen to power of a source? Power of source, what will happen will not change. Then 4 pi x square will not change. So intensity will not change. Then intensity into area will give the power flowing that one. So number of photons will not change. So this is just only for calculation purpose. So that's why in the yesterday's class I made a clarity. If you vary frequency, number of photons will not change here. Got this? So now what when if I decrease wavelength, what when energy of photon will increase? Energy of photon increases, then Kmax will increase. Come for this, if I decrease lambda, Kmax will increase. Then if Kmax increases, then any conditions will arise here. How the graph we can plot it for a given intensity for different frequencies. How the curve will be. There's a last part of theoretical discussion which I'm going to wind up now. Kmax, if I vary the frequency, so let's take help of the formulas. What are these set of formulas? Kmax equal to SC by lambda work function. And we know Kmax equal to EVS. And for a given intensity, so I'll vary the frequency. So first one curve, I'll plot it. And next, again, I'll bring another one. Now we know that. Let's do one thing. If I decrease lambda, if I increase the frequency, I'll put like this. This is a curve one. F1 greater than F2. If F1 greater than F2, lambda 1 less than lambda 2. Then kinetic energy K1 should be greater than K2. What should happen to stopping potential? Vs1 greater than Vs2. The other curve, I had to show it like this. Not parallel, not parallel. Plotting curve. Common color, I'll show it. It will be like this. For a given intensity, which one should be F1, which one should be F2. From stopping potential, Vs1 greater than V2. So this is Vs1, this is Vs2. So this should be the F1, this should be F2. Agree this? Now, okay, this particular dots, okay, we are able to tell. What about this part? Sir, how you can say this? How you justify? Why not these to be same? Why here you're putting that one? Now go back to the curve. Come back to the experiment here now. As you decrease the wavelength, frequency you're increasing, then kinetic energy of the energy of photon will increase. If energy of photon increases, then Kmax will increase. Then what will happen to the number of photons that are ejected here? As we increase frequency, what will happen to the non-zero kinetic energy electrons? Means those photoelectrons which are ejected with a non-zero kinetic energy, I think their number will increase, no? If we increase the energy of photon, those photoelectrons which are having non-zero kinetic energy, their number will increase. Then non-zero kinetic energy electrons, if they are more, then what happen? With zero potential, more electrons will be striking here. So therefore the current will be more. How to justify this? With potential difference 0, higher frequency, energy of photon will be more. Then number of photoelectrons with non-zero kinetic energy, their number will be more. So therefore now more photoelectrons will strike the collector. Therefore the current will be more. Is it justified? So this is about the for a given intensity. Why again here constant for same frequency? This we have to answer it. So how come you say saturation current will be same? Why not saturation current? Why it will be same for that? Okay, let's come for that. Saturation current. What actually happens here? The applied potential difference, I think we have to go back to the first diagram. The applied potential difference is such that, I think I need this diagram. Try to see this. And the applied potential difference, at this particular point we are discussing here now. Like for as you will increase the frequency of the source, what will happen? The energy of photon will increase. If energy of photon increases, then what will happen to Kmax? Kmax will increase. Then with whatever kinetic energy the electron come and strike, finally what will happen? The electron should move at this speed. So the Kmax, will it determine the current in the wire? No. With what kinetic energy it comes and strikes, I think that is immaterial. It all depends upon what, like number of electrons striking per second. So for higher frequency or lower frequency, what will happen to the electrons in the wire? They'll move at this speed only. Of course, they will move here with a different speed. But what happens finally after striking the collector, all they should move at this speed only. Here they'll have different kinetic energy. As you increase frequency, as this Kmax will increase. So what will happen to number of electrons striking the collector will remain constant. If number of electrons striking the collector, they'll strike with a different kinetic energy, but number of electrons striking the collector is constant. Number of charges striking the collector constant. So number of amount of current depends on charge. So rate of flow of charge. So therefore here, so what we can put it. So what we can conclude here is the saturation current is independent of frequency. For different frequencies, for a given intensity, saturation current will be same that one. Of course, Kmax of this electron and here electrons will be different here, but the number of electrons striking the collector will be remain constant. So practically, so here what will happen? So the saturation current what happen will be same, but what about this current? This current will be different here. So are you trying to understand this? Here what will happen? More non-zero kinetic energy electrons are available. That's why more current. What about here? Less non-zero kinetic energy electrons are available, less current. What about here? Any electron ejected, what will happen? They'll be swept towards the collector, no? Irrespective of its kinetic energy. So what happened to number of photoelectrons striking the collector remains constant, but here not like that. So because current depends upon number of electrons striking the collector. So here number of electrons striking the collector per second is different. Well, it will be same because irrespective of kinetic energy of ejected photoelectron, any electron ejected will be immediately swept towards collector. So therefore, this will be constant. So there's the overall basic idea now. There's the overall basic idea this one. So like this, what happened? These are the three fundamental graphs are there. All your numericals, they just revolve around with these basic ideas. So, so what you can put explanation for this part of graph. So what we have to write it here? Number of photoelectrons striking the collector per second remains constant irrespective of their kinetic energy. What about here? Why we have to give like this explanation? Here what will happen? Thus, you can say the number of non-zero kinetic energy, non-zero kinetic energy photoelectrons striking the collector. What happen? Here will be more, here will be less. So what we have to say? Number of here they are more. So like this, we have to put an explanation here. So got this. So there's a very generalized way. So now everything is all about the numerical. In numericals, what happen? How the cell, external cell is there, how it is connected. I think that will determine what we are going to discuss here. Okay, look at that E bar. Put E bar, that will help you. What part of graph we are discussing that one. And if you change, if the polarity is like this, now if the cell is connected like this, no, then this part of graph is what you have to discuss. If the cell is connected in this way, then this part of graph will come into picture. Cell, if positive terminal connected to collector, then this part of graph will come into picture. Am I right? If negative terminal of cell connected to collector, then this part of graph will come into picture. So I think this is very important. The polarity of cell will determine which part of graph has to be discussed here. Okay, let's come for. Let's take the questions one by one. Read the question. I'll have water. I think immediately no need to draw that photo tube everything. So just small diagrams will be sufficient here. So this is the that cathode, collector, emitter and collector. Have rough diagram, and this is the cell. This is the 5 volt. This will be here is what light incident. So like this, and so in this region is what we'll see the electrons. Just put one dotted one. Let's get into the thing. So this is the ejected photoelectron. So there are two things are there. No, just you directly go for it. One photoelectron which is ejected with maximum kinetic energy, and another photoelectron which is ejected with zero kinetic energy. So this is K1, K max, K2, 0. In your entire discussion, it must come like this. This is the emitter. This is a collector, and this is a photon. Lambda you just shown here by it. Photons of energy 5 electron volt. These are photons. So we know energy of photon. So find the work function of the metal and state whether the current in the circuit is less than or equal to saturation current. Now what is telling? Electron reaching the anode of kinetic energy is varying from 6 to 8 electron volt. Let's do one thing. This applied potential difference. No? What direction E bar will be? E bar must come in this direction. And any electron here in what direction will experience a force? It will have some kinetic energy, say K dash, and it will also experience electrostatic force. Will agree this? So by the time, so now there are two electrons. So one electron will strike with how much of kinetic energy? 8 electron volt. I'll give some color for it. Yeah. Next, another electron. So there's one more electron is there. So that this is a range of kinetic energies of electrons striking the collector. Let's analyze anything from here we can determine.
Max 2.
Yeah. Let's other think. Let other think. So don't give answer time being. Let others analyze. Okay, we'll do one thing. For 8 electron volt, we'll write equation. 8 electron volt. What is that 8 electron volt? How that 8 electron volt it has come? It was ejected with kinetic energy K1 max, and electrostatic force does work, no? Then it has become 8 electron volt. So K1 plus work done by electrostatic field. Then it has become 8 electron because the electrostatic force does positive work on this charged particle. So come for this 8 electron volt. K1 what you can write? HF minus work function or energy of photon plus work done. What is work done by electrostatic field? Charge into potential difference. So shall we write, this is some, okay, V not any symbol. Shall I write E into V cell? This should be, so 8 electron volt. Energy of photon, how much? 5 electron volt. Work function. This will be E into 5 or 5E, you write it. I think this will be, what is the work function of the metal? 2 electron volt. I got the work function of the metal. Next, after this, find the work function of the metal and state whether the current in the circuit is less than or equal to saturation current. Now tell me, let's go back to saturation current. What do you mean by saturation current? When all the ejected photons reach collector, then it's a saturation. Will I agree? Sir, how do we can say with that? How do we can say that? Okay, let's do one thing. At saturation current, if saturation current is flowing, so here the current will flow like this. I'm wanted to check is this current saturation or not here. Okay, let's do one thing. Those electrons which are ejected with zero kinetic energy. So when they get accelerated by this electrostatic field, when they strike this collector, how much of energy they must have? So zero electron, I'll show like this. There's a zero electron. Zero electron, already I'm there, no? So zero electron, will it reach this particular thing? So is it the zero electron only after getting excited will become 2 electron or no? So what's happening here? Suppose like a how much of like a kinetic energy what when the zero electron should acquire how much of energy they should acquire when they reach collector? 5 electron volt. Able to make it out. I don't have any equation, just I have to put it in very conceptual way. I have to explain this one here. You do one thing. What should be the energy of photon? 5 electron volt. Come for this. Then what is the maximum kinetic energy of the electron? 5 minus how much will be? 3 electron volt. 3 plus work done by the cell, 8 electron. This is a maximum kinetic energy. Zero kinetic energy electron, if it get accelerated by electrostatic field, then by the time it reach collector, how much of energy it must have? It must have 5 electron volt. Am I right? But how much it is having? 2 electron volt. So what happened here now? The zero kinetic energy electron are not reaching it. So therefore, instead of this K, so the zero electron volt, I'll show it here, and they are unable to reach. So this K is what reaching there. The zero electron volt or zero kinetic energy electron volt what will be at rest and will continue to be at rest. So I'll do one thing. K equal to work done by electrostatic field. So this 2 electron volt, how I can write it as 2 electron volt, red color.
6, sir.
Which one?
That is not 2, that is 6
6 electron volt.
6 electron volt. So, yeah. 6 electron volt should be equal to what? K plus work done by electrostatic field. Keep it as it is. K. What is work done by electrostatic field? Already we know. 5 electron volt. So therefore, what is the? This will be 1 electron volt. So the kinetic energy with 1 electron volt will, when it reaches collector, will have 6 electron volt. So definitely what happens, the zero kinetic energy electron cannot reach there. Because what is the kinetic energy of electron when they reaches here? 6 electron volt here. Zero kinetic energy electron, if it reaches here, what should have been this 5 electron volt? If I wrote this 5, it could have justified. Will I agree, all of you? So with this, what I can conclude here now? Those electrons, those photoelectrons which are ejected with kinetic energy less than 1 electron volt will not reach collector. Now, is it all the ejected photoelectrons are reaching collector? The answer is no. So therefore, is it current saturation? No. The current flowing is less than saturation current. Fine. I think it's all about the the work done. The energy equation you should write properly. Go back to the basic electrostatics, apply things clearly. You can manage any of the questions. Even if the energy of the electrons reaching collector was 5 electron volt, then what is the conclusion you can make it? As then it's a saturation current. Means now you have to ask question. Sir, this field is there. So this will not exert any force. Then this should move. No, it should have sufficient strength. Then only the cloud charge will move. So for any non-zero applied potential difference saturation current flows, I think the answer is wrong. So when the space charge there will diminish totally. It will become zero at certain potential difference only. Got the idea? So theoretical questions, very good type way of asking questions are there here, that one. So you have to be very alert here, theoretical things. I'll go for next question. Come for this. Just only the concepts what we discussed now, based on that I just picked up numerical, so that what all we discussed theory, estimate the power of light used. What all we have? We have one information. 2 electron volt is the work function. Then efficiency of photo emission. So it is how much? 10 to the power of minus 3%. So this should be equal to 10 to the power of 3 by 100. 10 to the power of 5. So what do you mean by efficiency? This what is saying efficiency. Efficiency how much is very poor, that one. So how to calculate number of photons, number of photoelectrons that are ejected here, number of photons incident by this efficiency, no? We know I saturation, we know stopping potential. This is Vs. I'll come back to this. No. So number of photons is for the efficiency is 0.00001% here. How to get the number of electrons? It will be, so first we'll go back to the basic formula. From stopping potential, what we can write it? EVS should be equal to HF minus work function. EVS we know, so this will be 5 electron volt. HF work function is 2 electron volt. So this is the thing. Now after getting this, so what is the saturation current? We know saturation current. Then what is the formula for saturation current? It should be equal to I saturation is equal to eta power of source I think directly no need to do other thing. So I think that, just substitute here now. Saturation current we know. this Hc by lambda, or you can write it only Hf. So from this, what will happen? We'll get the power of source here. Hf is how much?
7 to 8.
It's 7, sir.
7, no, it is. Okay, okay. Okay, substitute all this. Clear this? So that just basic formula. Anybody? Power of light
7.
source?
7, sir.
7 watt. 7 watt. Okay, now last this one. A source of light of monochromatic light of frequency F equal to 5.5 into 10 to the power of 14 Hz at a rate of 0.1 watt of the photons given out of the photons at a rate of 0.1 watt of the photons given out 0.15% fall on the cathode of a photocell, which gives a current of 6 microampere. Find the energy of photon, find the number of photons leaving the source per second, find the percentage of photons falling on cathode which produce photoelectrons. Now try to read this. So what is everything? This one. This is the photocell, emitter, light is incident, power of source, there's a lambda, there's an emitter, there's a collector. Is it every incident photon will produce one photoelectron? The answer is no. There's some efficiency there. The efficiency parameter will come into picture. No, get into this one. And a current I will flow. So this current is what is telling. Power of source is given. Energy of photon is given. Call that is F. He's talking some sort of that 0.15%. There's a very basic theoretical idea. I just made it as a question, you know. First, we'll go for every 100 photons, so it depends 0.15. So what is telling? Of the photons given out, 0.15% fall on the cathode. How many fall on the cathode is what needed, no? Number of photons falling on the cathode, that has to be determined. First of all, how many photoelectrons are generated can we calculate by the current? Because what is the current? Current is equal to number of photoelectrons into charge of electron. What is any? Number of photoelectrons emitted by emitter. So we know current is how much given? 6 microampere. So 6 into 10 to the power of minus 6 Ne. So this is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 90. Shall I say emitted by emitter per second? All these are per second. C plus 13 it will come. So these many photoelectrons are ejected by the emitter per second. Okay, now after getting any, What is that percentage? 0.5% is asking find the percentage of photons. So next after this, what we have to do? How many photons are emitted by source per second we'll calculate. For that we know power of source and frequency. I'll come to the next here. NS. What is NS? Number of photons by per second. So that should be equal to power of source by energy of photon. So this from this what happen we'll get the NS value. Now is it all these emitted photons will they strike? I think it's the diagram. It's very easy. No, you can see this. This will emit light in all direction. In that what happen of all emitted only few will fall on the emitter. No, I think the diagram itself will speak a lot. Very easy for you to understand. So what is telling of the photons given out 0.15% fall on the cathode. So shall we calculate now number of photons incident on the emitter or this called like a cathode. Number of photons incident on cathode or emitter. Ni I'll call it. How much it should be? 0.15 by 100 into Ns. What we know Ns from here. That you substitute, you'll get Ni. And now is asking, now we know Ni. These are incident and these many are produced. Number of photons incident in cathode and these many electrons are produced. So can we calculate now? Find the percentage of photons falling on cathode which will produce photoelectrons. Is asking that particular efficiency. No, how to calculate efficiency? Ne by Ni or Ni by Ne? Ne by Ni, no? For these many incident photons, how many photoelectrons are generated? So the efficiency will be a very good problem. Just is telling that just very general way of asking things here now, because all the photons emitted by source will not fall on the cathode. Next, all the emitted photons on the cathode will not generate photoelectrons. That's what the theoretical ideas he has made that as a numerical here. And 9% it will come efficiency. Check it. I'll go for next one. There's again the theoretical concept what we discussed. No, it is there in SURM. I just picked up this question. A light beam of wavelength 400 nanometer is incident on a metal of work function 2.2 electron volt. So what is the wavelength given? Lambda 400 nanometer, work function 2.2 electron volt. A particular electron absorbs photon and makes two collisions before coming out of metal, assuming that 10% of extra energy is lost to the metal in each collision. Find the kinetic energy of this electron as it comes out of metal. Under the same assumptions, find the maximum number of collisions the electron should suffer before it becomes unable to come out of metal. Again, the theoretical, what all we discussed theory, that only is being asked here. Now, here is what the light will be incident. Let's assume that. So what is telling, and this is the electron. So first, what is the energy of photon? What all energy of photon is there? So first we'll calculate the energy of photon. Then what is the kinetic energy it will acquire? K max equal to SC by lambda work function. Now, let's get into everything in electron volt, so that will be easy for us. HC I'm taking 12375. In books sometimes they may give like this, take SC. So substituting that, I'll get maximum kinetic energy of electron equal to how much? Oh, the energy of, sorry, not this one. Huh? Wait, this one. The energy of photon will calculate, which is equal to Hc by lambda. I just use calculator. I'm ending up with this approximate 3.1 electron volt. Now what is the condition given? This much of energy what happen, the particular electron will get it. Now is it all this energy will be utilized? So first what will happen? It will, after getting this 3.1 electron volt, the electron will start moving. It will encounter collision. Collision I'll just show by red. It will encounter one collision, and after collision again it will move. Again it one more collision. Assuming that 10% is lost to the metal collision, find the final kinetic energy of electron as it comes out of the metal. As it comes out of metal, no, it will encounter two collisions. Now here when it arrives here, it will have energy, say here it was EP. After one collision it will become E1, then this will become E2. Now when finally it emerges out, it will have kinetic energy K. Now what should happen to that energy now after first collision? Energy of electron will say. Energy of electron after interacting with photon, let it be EP. 10% is lost. 10% means how much we can write it as 3.01. No, we can't neglect this. 3.09. 10% in that if we remove it, 2.78 electron volt. Then again in this 10% of energy will be lost, 2.5 electron volt. Finally, it is having 2.5. So what is the kinetic energy of that will be E2 minus work function, 2.5 electron volt. What is the work function? 2.2 electron volt. So this will be 0.3 electron volt. This is the kinetic energy of the electron. Here is what? First collision. This is the second collision, and this is surface of metal. Able to imagine? So students, some students, I don't know what will happen, some books also, or some books they're given. First what will happen, don't subtract this work function. First what happen, the electron will gain energy from photon. When it arrives at the surface, then that work function will come. So what students are doing, directly first they're removing this work function from here. 3.09 minus 2.2 electron volt. Then remaining how much? That with that kinetic energy it will encounter collision. No way the work function will not come into picture. First the electron will interact with photon, it will gain energy. After is it all the energy from photon be transferred? This is hypothetical, practically not possible. Tomorrow's class I tell you what happens if electron completely absorbs photon. What will happen? So it's hypothetical. Partially it will absorb it, not completely. This is hypothetical. Let me assume completely here. Then first it will absorb the energy of photon, then encounter collision. When it arrives at surface, energy greater than work function will come out. So don't subtract this work function first from 3.09, then get in problem. It will be wrong. And now it's telling under same assumptions, find maximum number of collisions the electrons should suffer before it becomes unable to come out. So 2.5. So in that you remove it. So how many collisions that will occur? I think I'll continue the problem now. Now the electron will interact with this. So first one collision will occur. I think similar way. Second collision, third collision, fourth collision. So here we have to check it, how much of energy that one. After fourth collision, we'll see what is the energy of that one. So there's the first collision, second, third, and fourth. So here, what was the energy of electron? It was EE, then E1, E2, E3, E4. So number of collisions, first, second, third, fourth. I did calculation. You are supposed to work out here. So you calculate E4. The E4 what will happen will be less than 2.2 electron volt. You can see from here only E2 is how much? 2.5. 10% of that you make it, you'll get E3. 10% of that you make it, then E4 will become less than 2.2 electron volt. So how many collisions occurred here? 4 collisions. After 4 collisions, the kinetic energy of the electron, what happened, will be less than work function, and it fails to come. What will happen to this electron? It will just move randomly and keep on collide till it will attain the temperature of the metal, thermal agitation. The mean kinetic energy it will acquire. So this particular photon, what happened? This electron, though it interacted with photon, it failed to come out. So therefore, all incident photons will generate photoelectron. The answer is no. That's what they meant it to say that one. All the incident photons will not emit photoelectrons. Practically, sir, what is the efficiency? I think previous problem I just gave. Practically till now the efficiency is around 22%, almost maximum. In the research level they've found it 22 or around 28, but solar cells what we use in our home applications, it is around only 11%. The efficiency is in fact very poor. And all these are theoretical. In SC Verma, you're almost having some best questions are there, even in ICON, even in Cengage. Work out this one. So first have a theoretical idea, clarity. The numericals will be of this kind. And now, this ejected electron, what will happen to it? If I bring magnetic field, it will revolve in circular path. If I bring external field, electrostatic field move. If I bring gravity, parabolic path. I think numerous ways of, again, testing questions here. Photoelectric effect idea is very less. Now we'll go for tomorrow, all the mixed concept here. So we'll take, I think time is there. We'll see that. So number of collisions, we'll say like a, I need time. Okay, tomorrow I'll continue with all these application numericals. You can refer Cengage or SC Verma or ICON. Almost all set of numericals are same. Do practice them. Okay, thank you all of you.